Gym Pandas, and they were educating me from Andrew Thomas Young's paper. They're saying, yeah, those light rays, they're curving to your eyeball, right?
Yeah, but buddy.
They are.
Yeah.
They are.
Oh, they are?
Line of sight is never bent.
You haven't got a straight line of sight on a globe. It's all bent.
Those light rays, they're curving to your eyeball.
Yeah, buddy.
They are.
Yeah.
They are.
Line of sight is never bent.
They're curving to your eyeball.
Yeah, buddy.
They are.
Yeah.
They are.
Line of sight is never bent.
Calling all cars. We have
Numpty dipshit.
all cars, please assist. All cars, please assist.
So why don't you walk me through this?
What you want me do this? Huh? What you get me do this, prove a flat earth? Huh? What you get me do this? Huh?
Done.
What you get me do this, proving a flat earth? Huh? Huh? What you get me do this, proving a flat earth?
That is how you sound, Virus. That is
What you get me do this, proving a flat earth?
Damn, walk me through this.
Damn, bro! You got me proving a flat earth, bro! What you get me do this, bro?
Dude.
And we're off. How's it going out there, guys? As usual, if you'd like to support this channel, there are PayPal and Patreon links in the info box below. I turned myself down here before we get going. Just seen a issue. Gain could be a little bit too high. How about that? Radio check 1 2 1 2. All right, we're good to go. The beautiful Betty Van Velsen will not be here today. She had an issue and a conflict, and she just couldn't get out of it. So we're going to miss her today. And shout out to you, Betty. I just got out of Discord. I looked in there, and there's a whole bunch of people in there. I don't know why. We're going to find out here in a second. I don't have a co-pilot. All right, Discord, what's up? Listen to this, folks. That's what I thought.
Evening.
Hello, everyone.
Adam.
Uh-oh. The Adam Meakin. Is he my co-pilot for today? Is he gonna be the beautiful Betty Van Velsen stand-in?
I'll be a co-pilot and strap some goggles on, but I'm not going to try and impersonate Betty.
That some beer.
What's this? Can't come. Is it just because she heard I was doing a presentation?
No. It had nothing to do with that. And you're not doing a presentation.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, well, good luck, Betty. Miss you, mate.
You have to put beer goggles on.
Can do that.
Yeah, but you're not a big beer drinker. You're a wine drinker.
I am now, yeah. My preferred goggles were beer goggles as a young man.
Oh, really? Okay, fair enough.
Why the switch? Could try and claim it was maturity, but I don't see what's mature about it. So, too much volume in lager gives you a big pot belly.
Oh, yeah, you look pretty slim when I see you on videos.
Skinny is the way my wife describes it. Too skinny.
All right, what else we got? We gonna get right into the presentation or what?
Everyone else saying hello.
We'll get him to say hello.
How do I do that? I could say hi, Dank, George, Joms, Bailey.
Hey, good evening, all.
There you go.
Hello.
Well, that was deep. Betty, you see what happens when you don't come on when you're not co-piloting. See what this is what happens.
Like Nathan's today. It's just calm.
Yeah, Nathan's was kind of quiet for long stretches, and he wasn't objecting, and that was very strange.
What's up?
Uh-oh.
Heroes.
Shit. Why you get me do this? Why you get me prove flat Earth, bruh?
That was Virus, weren't it?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. He inspired a poem the other day, Virus did.
Did he?
Yeah. It was in Arwin's chat, and Arwin just buggered off. You know how he does sometimes for a Illuminati croissant or something. It was somebody had started instigating something like, you support Hamas or something. You know how they try to goad Arwin into. So I've said, no, I support Nottingham Forest. And then Virus has come in. He supports Freddy Krueger, which I didn't understand. But we started what? So I retorted to him. 1, 2, Effie coming for you. Then the rest of the chat, we kind of, I think, shout out Cleary. Well, kind of finished the whole Freddy thing. So do you want it? You getting it? Take that as a yes. You've gone for a banana, haven't you, or an orange?
No, I'm still here. I'm listening. What the heck are you talking about?
So within the chat, when Arwin's gone, that kind of kicked off. Then people were chirping in with the rest of the lines. We have constructed the full 1 to 10 for Freddy Krueger, flat Earth based, baller.
That's an amazing story.
Not the poem yet. Coming. 1, 2, Effie coming for you. 3, 4, prove your molten iron core. 5, 6, in the ground all you got is sticks. 7, 8, use the stars to navigate. 9, 10, never presuppose the globe again.
That's absolutely perfect. I wasn't ready for that. Outstanding.
Go out, Orange Chat.
Yeah, there was a couple good ones today. That one, and then a new one from Refracted Curvature, where he said Einstein's two-body problem. Nice little take on that. I like it. You guys are still sharp.
Aimed by the best, sir.
QE, you having an issue with your website? I keep getting...
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I was pissed. In fact, I was just thinking about that. So what I did was I went to my website. Here, I'll put it over here. About 12 o'clock, about an hour before the show started, and I said, well, let's pull up the website. Let's see what's going on. I hit the Globe Terminator right over here, my little special button, and this site can't be reached. I said, you got to be kidding me. So I got to give what my web designer. I already sent him a message, but it's too late in the scheme of things. So we'll just have to go with the backup. Yeah.
Off to Google. Gmail.
Yep, that's my filing system. I still have it. It's just a bummer, you know. I pulled it up, get ready. I like watching the video of all the planes flying and stuff. Since I lost my ballerina too. Yeah, I was a little bit disheartened, but what are you gonna do? Yeah, it hasn't crashed in quite some time. I mean, I check it every day. You know, it's one of my routine things I do when I turn on the computer in the morning. I'll just click most of my tabs just to make sure, you know, they don't forget about me. I didn't do that this morning, though. For some reason, I just didn't do it. And I came up, I said 12 o'clock. I said, let's go ahead and pull up the Globe Terminator website, have it there ready to go. Nope. Gone. So like I said, I can't complain. It's been up for a good, I can't even remember the last time it went down. So my web guy will get on it. He'll square it up. It's just not going to be squared for today. So thanks for noticing. Why don't you come by with a message and say, hey, QE, I came by today. I hit your website. It came right up. I never get any of those. Only the negative. People always focus on the negative waves. Why is that? Don't all chime in at once.
Ask it again.
I said, why does everyone focus on the negative waves, man? My example is, hey, QE, how's it going? I pulled your website up today, and everything's perfect. No one ever says that. But as soon as it goes down, QE, geez, oh man, website's down. Well, what's going on? Right? You know what I'm saying? That's just the way it is.
When you're in
You
the
don't
middle,
moan that people are contacting you unnecessarily then. 400 hits.
They're only looking for they're only looking for you when they need to find you. Like you're like a guiding light in a lot of this shit, and a lot of people look for you to say certain things, and when they don't get certain things from you, they're like, "Where are you at?" You know what I mean?
Maybe.
A lot of people actually do look towards you. I don't know if maybe that ship's done sold and sailed or whatever, but like,
who sold the ship?
Don't ask me, bro. I'm just telling you about it.
When
you know as well as I do, QE, a lot of people look to you for certain answers, though.
I don't know about that. If they are, they're not saying anything.
Did you just ignore the past 4 years, or what do you think happened?
No, I haven't ignored. No,
They're coming with a Black Swan.
I haven't heard the Black Swan argument in a while. Now, I do. Thanks, Nathan. We'll go ahead and start right now. I haven't heard the Black Swan argument. I can't say that because guys over at 24/7, they're always jacking people up with it still. But other than 24/7, I really don't hear it.
Well, the flat earthers on Geos never mention it, seemingly.
Yeah, Geo's. Yeah, he's Jane.
Isn't
Fonda,
that kind of weird? Isn't that kind of weird?
He's a Jane Fonda.
How come all the flat earthers over there on Geos never mention the Black
They're
Swan?
terrorist sympathizers too. I don't care what is or what is not mentioned on Geos. Don't even care. Geo knows better than to show up anywhere in my vicinity. Because it's
he doesn't. He doesn't.
Oh, yes, he does.
He tries to, you're saying?
I'm saying he knows better than to show up anywhere in the vicinity of me because it's going to get medieval.
Kiwi, let me ask you this. Like, why do you think a lot of Geo server has a lot of flat earthers and they don't pay you respect?
I don't care about that shit. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. Anyone in Geo server is an accessory, complicit after the fact. So I just categorize all them as frigging terrorist sympathizers also, even though it might be not known to them.
Yeah, it's like because they're flat earthers and they use your arguments, but they don't like pay any respect.
I don't mind that. That's why I put them out there. That's why the website, when it's actually working, that's what it's there for. I don't mind flat earth. That's the whole point.
And they're like, why would they shit on? Why would they just ignore what you did? Like, that's
What do you mean? What
good...
I did? They're using the arguments. That's all I wanted. What? They don't have to come by and kiss my ring. Don't need that. Don't care about that. Just use the arguments. They're deadly. But we're talking about two different things. We're talking about a terrorist sympathizing server versus people using my argument. We're kind of convoluting those. The whole point, I'll say again, for the website and all the arguments is not to pay homage to me or anyone else. It's to take those arguments, take them. They're like the arrows in your quiver, right? And these ones are deadly. They got
QE.
What?
You don't think that it's your law? Like, these guys are quoting your shit and they don't pay you any respect.
That's fine.
Why isn't that offensive to you?
They're not
like, why aren't you like? That would be fucking aggravating to me.
No,
absolutely. How dare you quote the shit that I came up with and you don't pay me respect? Oh my god, I'd be fucking pissed. Are you kidding me?
Not at all. I'm more pissed that they're in a friggin' terrorist sympathizing server.
That's my whole point. Like, they don't even talk about what you did for anything.
That's not my point. My point is, I don't care. That doesn't matter. Adam, Sid Cleanser, you listening to me?
I'm trying.
Second they make that argument, kindly provided by QE, it becomes their argument. That's the purpose of this. He's got big enough head. He doesn't need people going around giving him extra kudos unnecessarily.
Betty!
Hey, check it out. I'm gonna say this. I said this upon the recent Neil deGrasse breakdown, and that topic came up about the I'm not even gonna mention his name. You know who it is. Shitsit.
Mention his name.
Check it out. Check it out. It's the Shitsit. The Shitsit. But check it out.
The Shitsit.
We here at Nathan FED are not here for self-ameliorations. We're not here for bragging rights, for subscribers, for being patted on the back and pat on the head to get credit for things. All QE and Nathan and all these guys do is speak the truth and educate and try to make everybody be enlightened and understand the difference between science and pseudoscience and how to understand, overstand, and understand the flat earth that we live upon and why it is accurately known today. You know what I'm saying? So all of that, I mean,
that's a real blessing right there.
Yeah, but we do give QE the credit on our panel because Nathan would be quick to say, no, that was because of QE. Or I always say, that's why
I say the same shit immediately.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
but
yes, sir.
All these other cats out here, we don't care whether they. And I think that's one of the reasons why Shitzit is got a little bit of a beef, because there is nothing that he has acquired or manifested on a level of empirical scientific methodology to use as an argumentative tool against his opponents. And it came from over here. For example, the Black Swan, even though maybe someone else had brought it to us, but we were able to be smart enough to grab that video and take that still frame shot and use that as one of the greatest weapons to destroy the 7/6.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying?
No, yes, fucking sir. Right. Absolutely. Like,
right.
And then that's what I'm saying. Like, people don't give QE any respect. That's why I'm getting kind of like, you have people out here like Witsit who run around talking all sort of like hyped up about whatever, this and that. They're all sort of like aggravated and like going. Like, dude, we have a lot of good shit, and we got a lot of good shit from people we need to pay respect to. Like, QE gave us a good argument, and
I don't think
fucking
that's the case.
Works.
I don't think that's the case at all. All you have to do, it's not for, like I said, you don't have to come by and kiss the ring. Just go to the website when it's like actually when it's like actually working, and take the arguments that are listed there. I did that for everyone. Just I don't care. Now, like Adam said, when you do take them, they become your argument. So you have to know them inside out. So another point is that don't just take them willy-nilly. Obviously, that logically follows. Make sure you understand the arguments through and through. And then once you do, then take them and use them as weapons. You don't have to say, well, this is QE's. That's not the point.
No, I disagree. I don't think Adam is... Okay, so you the Black Swan literally did. It's a whole argument that's logically based from what you came up with. It's not like any other flat earther came up with that shit before you. So like, humble yourself as you may. Oh my God. And when Adam says like it's not necessarily QE's, it's all of ours. It really isn't all of ours because like there's a certain amount of homage that we need to pay respect to. Like,
oh bollocks!
There's no, bollocks. What do you mean, dude? I swear to God,
Huey
gave me a lot of good ammunition, man. I swear to Christ.
I agree with
if
his
you
brother.
want to swear to Christ.
Because here's a good example. Remember, Nathan even gave Neil. Nathan gave Neil his credit. He said, although he gets on my nerves sometimes, he can be annoying, but Neil is a very essential product to the panel.
Sure, I'm just saying, give QE his flowers.
Give homage to everybody. Give everybody.
Why does everybody want to act like they forgot that Black Swan came from QE? It's not like he came up with the shit because he connected this and that. Like that's true.
It didn't come from QE at all.
I know. I didn't say he got
it did it. Okay, the Black Swan didn't come from QE at all. Is that what you're saying?
Construction of the logical syllogism came from QE, but the actual concept of saying where's that is.
I think that's disrespectful.
Earth is. I don't give a stuff.
Yeah, I think that's wrong that you're even saying that shit, dude.
It was years of the Isle of Man stuff that coming to that, and then the production by BLMB 69 to give us that footage, that enables QE to put it in to that devastating logical syllogism,
Can you say that again? QE?
No.
No, dude, he formed. It was not. It's like it's not. It wasn't hidden.
Come on, Sinclair. What's he paying?
It wasn't hidden. He just showed us the best way of doing it.
Well, just for clarity, I don't want to be.
I'm telling you, a lot of flat earthers benefited from the Black Swan. Why you guys downgrade that shit? Why did you downgrade that?
He's paid you because Betty's not coming on. He's had all the abuse for weeks when Betty's on, and he's thought, right, she's not in. Let's get a stooge in. Double props.
That's some bullshit. Right
I've done more for flat Earth than you've ever done, Adam.
But hold up, Adam.
Well done.
Put that on your list.
Brian knew about the Black Swan at least 2 weeks before I did.
What I'd say to that is that's the issue here. Recognizing, what's your purpose here? If you actually think I've done more than you, you're in it for the wrong reasons, aren't you?
You're out here downgrading QE for coming up with the Black Swan. How dare you? You're doing this in front of him.
He's had more credit.
You, bro.
He's had more credit to me.
QE's all humble as fuck, and you're out here down talking the fucking Black Swan. Get out of here, man.
I'm just sick of
Don't say that in front of me, bro. I know what it meant.
Hold on a second, guys. Too many people are talking. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I just want
hold on, D-Rose. Brian.
Yeah. Would you all just see and spot when Sinclair's just trolling the whole Audi? That's all he's doing. Sinclair's an Ethereum.
How am I trolling for giving QE his respect? How is that a troll?
You don't have any respect for nobody. You never did. You've always
QE gave your dumbass the Black Swan. You forget that, retard, man?
Yeah, see, there you go.
Yeah,
He's
maybe you forgot that, but guess what?
All right. That'll be about enough,
Just trolls.
Okay.
When he's called out on it, then it's just abuse, blah, blah, blah.
Okay, now let me clarify something. This dude is taking the Black Swan as I said QE, or I made specifically any particular individual from
the troll.
Hold on. Let me finish. He ain't controlling shit because I'm clarifying it right now. My point was that
trolling, not controlling. Trolling.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, controlling, trolling. It's just the suffix of the word. Controlling is trolling. Okay, but I said that Witsit, Shitsit, or Spitsit didn't have the ability to manifest or to even access the resource of the Black Swan as did Nathan FED panel. That's what I said. Nobody said nothing about QE did it, Brian did it, John did it, Neil did it, Adam did it. So don't misconstrue what I said, Mr. Troller, whoever you are that's over talking everybody, jumping all over QE's, bandwagon.
Don't say it.
I was going to say, no, but he knew what I wanted to say.
Yeah, it's just nonsense. Black Swan is everyone's. It's not mine.
Well, just so people know, the reason that something that was mentioned there by St. Cleanser, even though you're trolling, why people don't mention it in a lot of servers is because it ends the debate. Technically, it ends the debate. Because you can't have a globe without geometry. That's the end of that.
Yeah, so
it ends it.
I agree, Brian.
So
That's a good.
consequently-
No, Brian. That's a good point. I mean, any of those arguments, it ends the debate, and people like to argue. So a lot of people aren't going to bring those arguments up because they like to argue. So I think, Brian, I think you're right over the target.
Yeah, because you bring up something that's going to end the debate, it's all over, everyone goes home. That's no good. People want to spend hours on a server arguing about stuff and sharing things and all the rest of it. I don't. That's why I'm not on them.
Exactly. Way to have a vision through the mess, Brian. Good job.
And how pathetic can you be to jump in a server and ride somebody's jockstrap in the guise of riding their jockstrap, but you're really only in here to try to be a nuisance?
Yeah, we're
That
not
is so
trying to
pathetic.
discover. We're not trying to discover or try to diagnose people's psychology, man. That point is that ship sailed long ago. That we're not in the business of that, so we can move on.
It was pretty nauseating though. Righteous Force, look, he had to server mute himself. He couldn't take it.
Yeah. I think everyone understands the point. I've preached that for many years now concerning the arguments and why they're there.
They're not there for your glorification.
No.
Yeah, we can't have John have a swole head here, right?
No, and they're not my. I don't want. They're not my argument. It's just the accumulation of. I just put it all together. That I have a gift for that. So I take disparate information and gather it together and put it in a coherent thought process. I have a gift for that. So they're not mine. I mean, a lot of people, like you said, BMLSB 69, he took the photo. Taboo Conspiracy had a big hand in the Black Swan. And all the other arguments. I mean, I like I said, that's all I've done with them. They're not my arguments. They're the arguments against the Baltard. Period. Go ahead, Adam.
No, it's just funny trolling, wasn't it? More than that.
Go stop mumbling, Adam.
It was funny trolling. I did notice, Brian, hence my attack at QE. Yeah, it was. Come on, then. Let's have this presentation.
Let's
me and
move
Brian
on.
got to do ours as well yet.
All right, yeah, let's move the presentation.
Adam.
Let me go ahead and. Did somebody want to say something before we started presentation?
No, I was just addressing Adam. I couldn't get to the phone. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I already did. I was just acknowledging that he was addressing me. That's all.
Oh, okay.
Just
All
being courteous.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. Yeah, let me go ahead and share my screen and not share your screen, QE. Bam. Let's see where we're at. See if it's up. Yep. So you guys are up to speed and you guys can follow along with the presentation. Let me see if I can put that down there. Put that right. No, that didn't work. Come on. Take that out of there. Bam. Good thing we got a backup because, like I said, the website's down. So I have these all in the hopper. So here we go. This is I don't want to say this is one of my favorite arguments. It depends who I'm talking to, and that's not online. Usually I'll bring these arguments up, the Flight, the Solar, to people that I come in personal contact with. Because you figure most people have flown before, right? You only find a few here and there that haven't actually been on the plane in their life, right? So it's a pretty common thing. So when I try to use that experience to bring them back, put them in the exact situation, and have them come to their own conclusion, I think it's a really powerful way for people to educate themselves. You just got to put them in context, right? And it's like I said, this is an easy one because we've all had experience with this, so it's really cake. So since the Earth is,
shout.
Uh-oh,
I know you're
what?
gonna shout. Got a super chat because I got to be a bit of Betty.
Oh,
No.
thank you.
You got a super chat, and then it's 1, 2, 3, 4 comments up that you need to read out. The super
I need to
chat
do
says
it right
read.
now.
Yeah, because they're current.
I'm starting the presentation, dude.
Oh, but I did it before you'd started. You'd just done the preface. Yeah? Tell them what they're going to learn.
Dude.
Teach them, and tell them what you've taught them. You'd only done the...
Dude, all right. Let me go back. Hold on a second. See? You see, Betty? See what I mean,
No.
Betty? All right.
You want me to
go,
do it?
Let me go back. Now you ask me if I want you to do it when I've already taken the presentation off the screen and I'm headed back to do it. So
I don't want to overstep my boundaries, do I?
You don't have any boundaries here, sir. Tony Wickham says, shout out to Tony. Thanks for the super chat, man. Read my silly comment at 1926 timestamp. 1926. I don't have any times for these.
I'll read it. Funny thing for me is when Globers say the cranes are distorted in the Black Swan, but they see it right there, not under a curve, and the rest of the rig is not distorted in both rigs. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not even the argument. We're going to get to the Black Swan argument again here, coming up here shortly because it's on the list. But yeah, that just proves right there. The moment they say anything about the rigs, they're absolutely clueless. Number one, they don't know what the argument is. That's the elephant in the room. And it's also telling me that they've been listening to other numpties evaluate the argument and just mindlessly parroting it. That's what it tells you right off the bat. So it's just like whack-a-mole after that. All right, Adam, did I satisfy this?
Look, all I can do is try and fill in as best I can. Oh,
Betty, we need you back.
You see what happens, Betty? She goes and we fall apart, don't we? I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know the rules.
All right. You want to get... I know, you're just trying to disrupt this presentation because you have a flight presentation. Is that what it is?
The one that's not going to get presented?
Yes.
No, Adam, the one you're not allowed to present.
No, thanks, right. Brian. Appreciate that.
He's gatekeeping, isn't he? Gatekeeper.
Because you'll be talking about accumulation of stuff. That's not what he wants.
No, I like this. It's the first point you think with flights, and it's the start point you've got to accumulate curvature.
All right, can I continue?
I'm gonna mute, and I shall keep an eye on chat, and then after the presentation, I will come back to any super chats.
Oh, well, thanks, Adam.
I'm learning. You see, I'm on the job learning.
It's a proper gentleman. All right, so flight again. Since the Earth is, as we're told, a sphere of 25,000 miles in circumference, radius 3959 miles, then pilots, listen closely to this. This is very easy to understand. Then pilots traveling for 1 hour at a typical cruising speed of 500 miles an hour to simply maintain altitude would constantly have to adjust their altitude downwards. That is, to compensate for the curvature and descend on average. You see this? See this word right here? Average. Shout out to Adam. And descend on average 2,789 feet every minute. That's the point. Because you have to negotiate the curvature. You know, if you think the Earth is a sphere-tard, then it has curvature at 8 inches per mile squared. I don't know. I guess the ball-tards kind of forget that. You know, the quintessential foundation building block of their sphere-tard. But, yeah, see, as you go further out, it curvies more. So this is just basic stuff. Over 500 miles, there's a certain amount of geometry that has to be negotiated, and that geometry is drop, vertical drop. That's a bit painfully redundant because there isn't any other form of drop. You can't have horizontal drop. But I digress. Now, to negotiate the drop, I really don't care. The plane can barrel roll, split S, wing over, tail slide, slow roll, Cuban 8, falling leaf, the chandeli, or the hokey pokey. Doesn't matter. I don't care what it does. But it must descend. And here is the key point of the entire argument. In red. And everyone on the plane will know it. Okay, can you say that again? Can you repeat after me? That is the crux of the biscuit. Okay? Everyone on the plane will know it. If you've ever flown in a commercial airliner, you know that if that plane drops in altitude 10, 20 feet, guess what? You know it. I knew it every single time, right? And I've flown across the pond greater than 50 times, right? So I know it. You know it. If you've been on a plane, you know it. The point is that besides turbulence and anything of that nature, this doesn't happen. Is this clear first? Over here, right there. You see it popped up right there? First. Is this clear? This is one of those rudimentary proofs. So, how many miles of vertical drop, that's geometric, must be negotiated over a distance of 500 miles on a ball with a circumference of 25,000 miles? Well, that's simple mathematics. Answer, 31.7 miles. How many feet are in 31.7 miles? Well, that's easy. 167,376 feet. So, 167,376 feet of vertical drop must be negotiated over 500 miles on the earth, period. There's no argument with that. Simple math. Number one, real world. I'm traveling by commercial plane from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania to Atlanta, Georgia for the Super Bowl. Approximate distance is 500 miles. The typical cruising speed, 500 miles. So 500 miles distance at 500 miles an hour, it will give you the travel time. It's an hour. So, question, how many feet of vertical drop per minute on average, very important term right there, shout out to Adam, needs to be negotiated on my trip? So, B, total feet, vertical drop. We did it above, over 500 miles, 167,376 feet. The travel time, again, 1 hour. It's a simple calculation, right? 167,376 feet divided by 60 minutes. We're trying to find feet of vertical drop per minute. Answer, and here it is, 2,789.6 feet vertical drop per minute average must be negotiated. You can't get out of it. It must be negotiated by the plane on my trip. If you live on a spheretard, this must be accomplished. It's physical drop. You're in the physical world, you have to physically drop. Does this happen? No. The sphere is a stone cold fairy tale. The end. It's that simple.
Yo, I think that is as powerful when it comes to aerial travel as the Black Swan is when it comes to sea nautical travel. That right there is the guillotine. Head chop off, all blurf, annihilator.
Yes, this is the NPC argument that I give to people. Like I said, the ones I personally meet, I don't go through all the particulars here that I just did. I could, but I don't. All I have to do is just bring the subject up and ask them if they've experienced over a long plane flight, over an hour, of vertical drop of that amount per minute. or somewhere in the vicinity. I think I say 3,000. Doesn't really matter. They don't. Just that simple. So they can relate to it and say, wait a second, what's going on here? That's what I want to happen. So let's do another example.
Hold up real quick. And you know the blurs, they love the math. You gave them the math. So the math, another weapon of their tool that they like to use.
It's not. Mathematics isn't theirs.
No, I'm not saying it. They like to use that to, it's in the math. Well, you gave them the math, and you broke it down to them that this is what the result is. Over 2,000 miles per minute of descent.
No, not 2,000 miles.
Whatever. Over
2,789 feet of vertical drop per minute.
Oh, feet. My bad.
Yep.
Feet.
Yep.
Over 2,000 feet.
Yes, on that particular travel time, we're going to do another example, though. We'll go for a little bit longer. So how many miles of vertical drop, that's geometric, must be negotiated over a distance of, let's say, 1,000 miles on a ball with that same circumference? The circumference doesn't change in their spheritard. Answer, 128.3 miles of vertical drop has to be negotiated between your liftoff and drop. And I'm sorry, your liftoff and your destination. So let's do it all again. How many feet are in 128.3 miles? Answer, 677,424 feet. So 677,424 feet of vertical drop must be negotiated over 1,000 miles on their spheritard. Number one, real world example again. I'm traveling by commercial plane from Pittsburgh to Dallas, Texas. Approximate distance, 1,000 miles. Again, typical cruising speed of a commercial airliner, 500 miles an hour. A 1,000 mile distance at 500 miles per hour equals, I know this is going to be a shocker, the travel time of 2 hours. That's 120 minutes. So, question, how many feet of vertical drop per minute on average, shout out to Adam, needs to be negotiated on my trip? So we're going to do the same procedure again. B, total feet, vertical drop over 1,000 miles, 677,424 feet. The travel time is 2 hours. Again, simple calculation. 677,424 feet divided by 120 minutes. Answer, 5,645 feet vertical drop over a mile per minute on average must be negotiated by the plane on my trip. No way around it. So it was so powerful, I'd put it in a modus tollens. If P, then Q, not Q, therefore not P. If commercial planes travel at 500 miles an hour for 2 hours, that's 1,000 miles over a spheritard with a radius of 3959 miles, P, it would then have to descend/negotiate 128.3 miles of vertical drop over the course of its journey, Q. Commercial planes do not descend 128.3 miles while traveling at 500 miles an hour for 2 hours. That is, they fly level. That's not Q. Therefore, the Earth is not a spheritard. Therefore, not P. Alice in Wonderland is... Shut up! Alice in Wonderland is more tenable than Baltard spending the space monkey religion. The prosecution rests simple. You live in a fairy tale. The end. Questions, comments? Now you can go.
I'm sorry. I'll say, unless you want to have your passengers all shit them and throw up and have an entire cockpit and passenger seats full of vomit and poop from those descents during their travel.
Thanks for the visuals. Yep. That's it. The end. That's all it is, baby.
What?
I'd like to say just one thing. What a difference a word makes.
Yeah, what a difference a word makes, doesn't it, Adam? And I had that word in there from the beginning, didn't I?
Oh, yes, Lord.
But
no, but that is... See, just do me a quick favour. What are the two sets of numbers per mile or minute drop on the 500 flight and
the two sets of numbers you got? What do you need? The total drop?
Yeah, I just wanted to.
So, over 500 miles, the total drop in feet is 167,376 feet.
6-7 and over 1,000.
This is for a trip for travel time. This is 500 miles.
So 27.89 per minute, and then the other 1,000 mile.
Oh, the 1,000-mile one, you want the drop? I think it's 5,000 something. 1 second. 5,006. What do you want?
I've got what I want. The point I want to make there is, can you see? This isn't because you've doubled. Well, it is because you've doubled the distance you're traveling over a ball.
Yes.
The drop per minute hasn't doubled because of anything other than you're traveling over a ball, and the effects of traveling over a ball and cumulative acquired curvature is that impactful. So much so that going twice the distance, the amount you have to drop per minute doubles. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, per minute or per mile. Yeah, that's what over a mile. Look, per mile, you're having to drop more and more, and that's the impactfulness of that cumulative curvature. You can't deny it. The further you travel, the more impactful it is. And air flight, when we talk about how airplanes work with gyroscopes and straight level flight, that's how they fly. So this cumulative curvature has to be accrued if it exists. And we've got a gyro-stabilized airplane flying in straight level flight, a straight vector, whilst the ground curves away underneath. That's what these numbers relate to.
Yes, sir.
If you're going to claim it, there has to be an impact for it. And that shows you how silly it is, how ridiculous the effects of cumulative curvature are, that we don't negotiate. And that double the distance thing really does exemplify it, because I don't know how wide the US is, but it's a 2-hour flight for me to Italy. Well, that's that. 2 lots of 500 mile an hour. That's a ridiculous amount of curvature that I don't encounter or have to mediate for.
No, and you'd know it. I think a lot of people, I put this argument out for, it's kind of old, and I put this argument out, and I guess I see where you're going with this, because I've had a lot of ballers not catch on to the fact that the more you travel, the further the distance, the cumulative curvature starts to add up. And they would say to me, well, why is it only 2,789 feet over 500 miles, but it's more than 5,000 feet over 1,000 miles? I said, are you kidding me? Are you snacking on paint chips from the 70s? So I get
inches per mile squared. You see?
Yeah, it's that squared on the end over there. Yeah. I got you, Adam. Thanks for bringing that up.
You're right, D-Rose. We've got them with the maths, you see. And it's not just the maths, it's just the implications of their claim is the point. This is what happens if you traverse a ball. It's a sad implication for them, which they don't mitigate for, and which and fundamentally we don't experience, as shown with those numbers.
As Adam said, this is more of the pedestrian type of proof from flight, but Adam and Brian have gone a little bit further, probably just a touch more detailed than I, little twist on things, but the outcome's the same.
Yeah, I'm. Go on, Adam.
Go on, Brian. Go on, Brian.
I was just going to say, yeah, I have no issue at all with that. Like, what's shown there is exactly correct. No one can argue with it. It says average. Like, I like to, if I was going to do that argument, I like to build it up over if the plane flies for so many minutes, this is the amount of drop, this is the amount of, feet of drop, blah, blah, blah. If it flies for another double that, and then I build it up, I will build it up. But, it's not, it's more of a build-up situation. It's not It's not. It's not. I can do it. I also would show the average, just like QE did. But I argue the degrees
right
below horizontal, and the reason I argue those is because of the lift effect. That's why I argue for the degrees below horizontal. No plane, even with a cambered wing, will be able to fly from A to B with a below horizontal pitch. Never mind the fact that it's officially a descent, they won't have 100% positive lift, which is what they need. So the plane has to have an above horizontal pitch to have enough lift to oppose the weight, so the plane can fly horizontally. You know that. So the way I go about it sometimes is a bit more for someone on the street. If I was going to present this to someone on the street, I would do what QE does. I would present it more that way. You know, but for someone who's more learned, more educated, I would go probably down the route of the degrees. You know,
Sure.
that kind of thing, and the lift effect.
Yep.
And there's also atoms. Yeah.
Yep.
Go on. Sorry.
No, it's a good point.
And to add to that, I like how
that sound like Adam?
no. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, did I say?
Go on, D Rose. Off you go.
My bad.
Make your point, D Rose. It's fine.
Oh, I'll be brief. I just wanted to say, I love how these debunking points, and demonstrations, and examples are like these blurfs are shooting themselves in the foot, and then they're denying the fact that they're shooting themselves in the foot when everybody's telling them you're shooting yourselves in the foot. And then QE and all you guys grab the same gun that they shot themselves in the foot, and then y'all shoot them in the foot and be like, see, it ain't got nothing to do with the gun or you. You just shoot yourself in the foot using the same weapon, the math, everything that they use, that they kick themselves in the face with, y'all use it against them, so there's no excuse for when the point is made that debunks their claims. And back to what Brian was saying about, I don't know the term, but why the plane has to have that little bit of upward tilt with the nose up. It's almost like when I said before, which is even more of a elementary example. When you're driving and you're a passenger in the car doing 70, 80 miles per hour, and you stick your hand out that window and you have your hand leveled, and if you tilt them fingertips down, your arm automatically poof, goes down towards the car. Whereas you keep your hand up, it kind of rides with the gusts of wind that it goes through. Same thing a plane does. When it's going at those speeds, it has to have that nose kind of up to be able to fly leveled. Otherwise, if it tilts or goes down, it's going to nosedive because of the gusts of winds going up against its physical mass.
Aerodynamics is kind of Brian's point. It is supported by mine because Brian's talking about the outside and what the impact of version a ball would be aerodynamically. Well, the point I kind of make is the inside mechanics. So inside, the way they fly the plane is something when they're on the ground called a gyroscope that they bother to stabilize to give them a horizontal. And that was my kind of point of inquiry, would be to see if we could record the straight line vectors that the plane's achieving and work with the assumption maybe that for the plane to traverse a ball, those vectors are going to have to be, they don't have to be corrected every second, but they do have to be accounted for at some point and throughout the journey. So to assume that maybe there would be certain points of downward flight, nose downing, and maybe we could get the vectors from, I used an arrow so in the middle of a straight a flight, and take the vectors not from a spirit level like we've seen people do, but I took an accelerometer on just to see the pitch of the plane and record that pitch and use that pitch assumption if there was anything to do to adjust the vectors. Now, turns out there was nothing. And that's what I expected to see. I knew I was flying across a flat plane. If we were traversing a ball, then outside of the accumulation of altitude, because the ground's falling away, we'll also, on a flat plane, down is always the same vector. It's in the same direction. Yeah? But if you're traversing a ball, the second you move away from your start point where you've set your gyros, then down becomes different vector in relation to where your start point was. And the further you go, the more that twists. Think about going around a clock, you know, it's pointing in 90 degree difference if you go from 1 to 3, you know, 12 to 3. So it's that perversion or twisting of the down concept and therefore what horizontal is more fundamental, because that's what the device is doing, is it's defining horizontal, and that would have to shift relative if you're traversing a ball. That was my kind of viewpoint, that, and what we demonstrated with data is there is no pitch down, and that's what Brian will show you. But if you are going to traverse a ball, and fundamentally you have to account for the accumulated curvature, and in this case the accumulated redirection of down. So then that leads on to Brian's in terms of aerodynamics, because if you think about, if down is always changing and the pitch angle for your uplift is always changing, it will be impossible to fly. If you read all the documents, all flight is based on flat plane data. Even NASA admit that, you know, all flight data it works on that. It doesn't work. It's fair enough in one direction, but remember when you're traversing the ball, that's 3 dimensions. So you're experiencing curvature in different axes as well. So that was the point of that one. Like I said, by Brian, which I think is probably a simpler one, which is just the aerodynamics of how the aerodynamics would change. On Brian.
Just so, because some people may not have fully caught on to what you say, Adam. What Adam is pointing out is that he proved with an accelerometer that all verticals, which would be all downs, the direction of down in the airplane on the flight he took, which was a couple of hours, all of them were parallel. You can't have parallel verticals on a sphere, on a circle, on a globe. You can't. The verticals have to all diverge. After all the zeniths must diverge. If you were talking about a zenith from the surface, they must diverge. So all the downs must meet at a center point. But he proved that all the downs, all the vectors, all the vertical vectors, that they all were parallel. So a line of several hours of vertical vectors means that they're perpendicular to what? Horizontal. So that's what Adam proved with the accelerometer. It was a brilliant idea, absolutely genius. Adam is a genius. People don't realize the genius of Adam. They will do in time, but they don't know now. When it comes to to make it simple, to make I can really complicate things, or I can make it very simple. Weight is down, right? To oppose weight, you need lift. If you don't have enough lift, you can't oppose the weight. To have enough lift, they must fly with an above horizontal pitch, and that is so they can fly horizontally. Because once they start dipping below horizontal, regardless of the type of wing, don't get lost in that, right? Regardless of the type of wing, they start losing the positive lift. So if you don't have enough positive lift, then you're not opposing the weight. What happens when weight is not opposed? It goes down. So it's impossible for them to fly around a spherical surface, because they couldn't fly around a spherical surface without being pitched down below horizontal, which would mean they can't oppose the weight, which means they would never be able to do it, because the plane would be getting pulled down towards the surface. Even if it was a spherical surface, it wouldn't matter. You'd be getting pulled down towards the surface at all times, because they can't oppose the weight. So it doesn't matter if you have 60% positive lift, there's 40% that's negative. That's a 40% pull down the way. To have 100% positive lift, the plane must, its wings, right, it's what's known as the angle of attack, its wings, and consequently then its nose, has to be must be an above horizontal pitch. Now that pitch degree changes with air speeds, but we don't need to go. I can go into that, but not necessary. All you have to do is remember, if you're not opposing weight enough, if you're not lifting up the weight enough, where's the weight going to go? It's going to go down, and that's what will happen with a below horizontal pitch, which they would have to have, and there'll be only one moment, 1 second of that flight on a ball that they would be horizontal, and that's at the moment they reach cruising altitude. After that, there is an accumulated below horizontal pitch. So no matter what happens, that opposition of weight would just get worse and worse and worse. And within maybe a few minutes of the flight, maybe a bit more than a few minutes, but not much more than a few minutes, that plane is going to be, you're careering into the ground. Which is why, officially, anything below horizontal pitch is considered a descent, officially, by aerospace. So if you don't oppose the weight, you go down. Sorry, Adam.
That's what pulls us back, QEs, because we've shown that these are straight line vectors, these flights. There is no nosing down, there is no reorientation. And because we've got that pitch data that I talk, yeah, and unfortunately, the average claims that QE makes there have to be accumulated at the end of the flight. At the end of that flight, that 166,000 foot that you've accumulated has to be your descent on top of your standard descent. If you've not dealt with it in the flight, it's accumulated underneath you.
Yes, sir.
We go in circles, is the point.
Yeah, it's very simple. Like I said, Brian's and Adams they're all over it. At the end of the day, it all comes down to the same thing. Ballers, you're screwed.
Yeah, they can't account for the drop that is in your presentation, QE, because to account for that would mean that they would have to fly with a below horizontal pitch, which means they're not opposing the weight of the aircraft, which means the aircraft would just go down.
Yep.
Yeah, in a trajectory, but it would still be going down.
Yep.
The point that the ballers try to do is, but you just throttle off a little bit and you'll drop in altitude, which was my point of contention. Yeah, you could do that, and that might account for the altitude, right? Constantly taking the power off the air because planes fly like that, don't they? Again, but that was an excuse to give them. But the reorientation of the vector of down and the differential created if you're traversing a ball, it has to be accumulated for. And the only way you can compensate for that isn't by powering down a little bit and dropping altitude. It's to reorientate the plane to the new down that it's still not traveling in.
Yep.
That if it was traveling in it, it will fall out the air, as Brian's presentation points out.
It'd fall out the air. Exactly.
And then we're back to your presentation, because therefore they could only have accumulated that curvature.
It's a whack-a-mole.
It is, because they couldn't do that. This thing about pulling back on the power. Yeah, pulling back on the power will drop your altitude because you're not creating the same amount of lift.
But you'd know it.
But that yeah, you would know it, but it wouldn't matter, because it doesn't change the amount of drop, because that's based on, the drop is based on the physical curving surface. Do you know what I mean? That's what the drop is based on. So it doesn't matter if you're 3 miles up or 6 miles up, you still have that amount of drop to account for. Do you know what I mean? There's no way around that. So if they're pulling back on the power all the time, they'd never get anywhere. You know what I mean? It'd be a 10-hour flight from one side of the United States to the other.
Wouldn't matter. It wouldn't. But you'd know it anyway. That's the whole point. It's not. The question is, what do they do about it? They don't do dick. Because if they did, I'd know it. Next time you're on listen, I don't have to tell people who've flown before. If that plane drops, I don't care. Like I did. I gave you a whole bunch of curly cues, hokey pokies, the Chandeli. It doesn't matter what they do to do it. They don't do it, because if they did, you would know it. Because you'd feel it.
They have to deal with it.
Yeah, you'd have reference.
There's no point it's ever dealt with in the flight. We all can, and that's why it's so powerful, because we can all go on a flight. We can think about the implications, and then do we ever experience them? No.
Exactly.
So you've got the defences. They'll put a John, so we can take it to mine, and then we can take it to Brian's. And if they try to rebunk that, then the only thing, we don't do that. Then the only thing left is the accumulated numbers that John presents.
Yes.
It has to be dealt with.
Yeah, because dropping, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I'm just saying, like the stupid, like you never hear that these days, but we used to hear that dropping altitude argument. You're still flying horizontally. That's the problem you have, that you're flying horizontally. So dropping in that saying the plane, they put back on power and drop in altitude means that they're admitting, the ballers are telling you that, are admitting that the plane's flying horizontally. That is the problem, is that the surface underneath you is curving, but you're flying horizontally. So it doesn't matter if you're 10 inches above the ground or 6 miles above the ground, you're flying horizontally. But the surface underneath you that you believe is there is a curving surface down the way. So it really doesn't matter. You know, it's a terrible argument to make as a rebuttal.
It's not an argument. Who cares what they can do? Like, again, I'll say you could do the Chandeli. It doesn't matter. That's not what the argument is. Is do they do anything to account for the curvature? Because if they did, you as a passenger would know it.
Another visible, and you'd have barf.
I've flown for 12 hours at a clip. Now, some of the flights had terrible turbulence, so you couldn't apply what I'm saying. But a good percentage of them, 50%, mainly flying back to Germany. You know what? That's not true. I can remember flying from Germany back to New York, and it was quiet as a church mouse. We didn't drop a smegging inch when we were up at cruising altitude, whether it be 30 or 35,000 feet, whatever. It's smooth as a baby's butt. Now, how can that be? Figure out what 10 or 12 hours at 500 miles an hour would be. I guess you could do it relatively quickly in your mind and figure out what the drop would be from that point. It's over. Say goodnight.
And from what I understand with turbulence, it's not a nose diving type of drop. It's a drop where it's like the plane in itself just kind of does like when you're in a truck with bad shocks, and it has that bounce to it. That's how it drops. It drops in that way of up and down. It doesn't do a nose dive and then catches balance. From what a friend that's a pilot of mine that told me what turbulence is. It's not a nosedive descent. It's more of a plane literally just going from, say, 31,000 feet, dropping to 30,995 feet with a whole plane just going, dropping a level with a little bit of shake.
And when it does drop,
shimmy and roll.
When it does drop, what's the most important point here? You know it. You, the passenger.
Can I say something before I'm going to have to leave? I'll be listening in, but I won't be able to be on the call. Just the only thing I heard from any pilots, and I heard it from one or two pilots from YouTube who are like big channels, and what they try and say is that the internal navigation system accounts for the curvature and the rotation, right? This is what they come up with, right? So what they're talking about is the INS, the inertial navigation system. Now, before I destroy it completely, I'm just going to point out what they're actually claiming is that whether it be mechanical or now optical light gyros that they're using, what they're trying to claim is that for every second of flight, the gyros are readjusted. Right, so what they're trying to say is that gyro is. Let's just say you break up a second into 12 portions. It would mean that the gyro would have to be adjusted. If you look into the maths, but I'm not going to go into it now. I've done the maths. The gyro would have to be adjusted at least 12 times a second. Right, that means that gyro is not doing what it's supposed to do.
Exactly.
It's called an inertial navigation system. The whole point of it is that the gyros create an inertial plane of reference. With the old INS, they use two mechanical gyros, which was to create a perpendicular, a horizontal and a vertical, and hold that perpendicular. With the newer optical gyros, they have not just a perpendicular, they have a horizontal and a vertical, and they have azimuth for yaw, right? What's known as yaw, which is another movement that happens with the plane. And the whole point of that is the reason they have them is so that the accelerometers can consistently register exactly what movements the plane is making. And for that to happen, they need that inertial, which is non-moving, non-changing, no change in acceleration, right? Frame of reference. Now, you're going to be changing in acceleration if the plane is changing speeds, which it will be doing, and you're moving the gyro at different rates per second. Because if a plane is flying at 500 miles per hour, or it's flying at 450 or 550 miles per hour, then there's 3 different rates that are going to have to change that gyro every second. And that's going to be like at least 12 times a second. You could break it up into 14 times. Any amount of times it has to change for their claim, which means the gyro is never holding horizontal. It's never doing anything. It's pointless.
Why would you even take it with you?
What would be the point?
What would be the point in taking a gyro with you then? It ain't doing squat.
You're better off with a plumb bob.
You're better off with a plumb bob, yeah?
Hanging in the cockpit.
Yeah.
That's the reality of it, though, isn't it?
Yes.
The gyro enables you to take a point of reference from where you started, where you calibrate it. Gyros aren't there to keep recalibrating. It takes 4 hours to calibrate the gyro. Not
It's
once
so
every,
silly.
not 10 times a second.
I'm sorry, Adam. I rumpus that. It's just extreme silliness. This is childlike stuff, man.
I'm quiet again.
Oh, that's okay. I just want a ball-tard to come on here and tell us why they take gyros on planes. Adam, you want to shout this out? Adam.
I do, and then I couldn't unmute myself. So Tony Whitcomb again. When you feel it, you're going to land. Even if you're asleep, you wake the F up. For most people, anyway. Cheers, Tony.
Yes, exactly, Tony. That's one of my whole points is not how they do or do they do, but when they do, you, as a passenger, would definitely know it.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your 2-hour flight. We are now beginning our descent of 6,666,432 feet. Yeah, that's the implication of straight line flight. Yeah, if you're going to accumulate it, your descent would take longer than the flight, wouldn't it?
Yes.
As you head down.
Yes. Your flight, like Brian said before, the degree, your nose would never get above horizontal. You'd be constantly going down.
Stopping the plane flying.
Yeah. If you're talking 2000,
with your head,
if you're talking
your head between your legs, kissing your own ass goodbye.
Talking that many feet per minute, that the nose of the plane would never get above horizontal, except say for takeoff. Yeah, that's it.
You say, it's down slightly different. The aerodynamics change. Even half a mile down the runway.
Yeah,
have changed by about 2 inches, 3 inches. 8 inches they're out after the first mile. You're still not taken off yet. The aerodynamics are now out. If that runway's horizontal, I assume the runway's not curving around the ball, reorientating you whilst you're still fixed to it. So if that's a flat plane, that runway, disco ball, and down's changed by 8 inches by the point you're taking off. And reorientated by 0.009 of a degree, which me, from an aerodynamic point of view, is significant, especially when that's going to accumulate an exponential rate as you keep going. The planes don't work if you have to do that. This is the point when you get to Brian's. The planes can't do it. They can't even get to cruising altitude. You're all over the shop.
Yeah, how long?
I know.
Go
I
ahead.
recall when I was coming back from the war. I recall when I was coming back from the war. Pretty sure QE, if you went over there to Kuwaiti during Kuwaiti Freedom, we were flying back from that area to the States. And one of those, I don't even know what the number, 797. It was the one with the 4 rows on the left, 8 rows in the middle, 4 rows on the right. That's how big this baby was. Commercial air flight. We stopped at Ireland and everything. And we were sitting in little areas, and little cubicle areas where you could play checkers and chess, and we had our drinks. And when we were at cruising altitude, none of our drinks spilled. You know, we didn't have any turbulence, fortunately, but it wasn't like, you know, our glasses were sliding, like our items were sliding. It was, everything was level all the way through that pleasant, calm trip. So I don't know what these guys are talking about as far as this constant dip to negotiate or to make up for, you know, curve for declination of nose diving. I never felt.
Yep, that's the point. That's exactly the point. You're all over it.
I was
You
just
would
doing
know it.
the maths there. 500 mile an hour, 10 hours. It's 5,000 miles, isn't it?
Yep.
So that's the case. Then that would be 200 million foot of curvature. Divide by 5280. Yeah, 37,000 miles.
How much drop per minute over that flight on average?
For 63 miles per minute.
No way. Unbelievable. Yeah, I didn't go to the stupid distances and stuff, which I should have, just to make a point. Unbelievable.
3959 times 2 times 3.1 by 5,000 20 24%, 360. That's 0.24. Yeah, so and basically you've travelled through 86 degrees of reorientation of down at that point. So you basically, you know, you equate a point where basically, as you're flying straight down.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, sir. This is the preposterous ludicrousness, absurdity that we're into, man.
Like a roller coaster declination. Wow.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't see how people can't figure this. It's not rocket science. I'm sorry. It's not, what was that? Rocket surgery?
Not rocket surgery or brain science.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. This is very simple to compute. It's all over, folks. Every single proof, it's all over. We can end it. We're gonna end it. Adam.
Huh?
Take us home, sir.
Oh. No pressure.
How about that? That was yeah. This. See, I'm giving you a couple seconds to gather yourself. So, Adam, take us home, sir.
You did spook me. Well, actually, we teased last week, didn't we? Well, you know, the levels. You can see how the three things fit together, and without one, the other is not as useful. With all the three arguments, it's impossible for the baller to to get out, because as they wiggle out of QEs, we then go to mine. They try and wiggle out of that. We leave it with Brian's, and the only resolution is to go, as I said, is to go back to QEs and deal with that curvature. Unfortunately, yeah. One of my favourite ones, other than gas pressure, still, even though, like I say, it's one that I had great interest in, because it was one that in the early days, before D Marble, Paul on the Plane did it. Yeah, so taking spirit levels, but we took accelerometers and he switched them off. There was lots of ideas, and we were chatting, me, him, John Savage, and that. And this was always my idea, was to actually record the whole thing using the accelerometers, because then you know everything. You've got all the data. The funny thing is, you know what the outcome was, but it's always nice to have that. As we've said, you've all been on a flight. We all know it does not account for their outlandish claims. But with all this stuff, it just supports you and gives you an argument for the things that you know if you've ever been on an aeroplane. So, cheers everyone. I assume we'll see you next week. And what we got, John?
No Ballbusters Saturday, but we'll see you guys next Tuesday. Betty will most likely be back. I think we're gonna go into, it's between gas pressure and Coriolis. I think I'm leaning towards Coriolis. So next Tuesday will most likely be Coriolis. Hopefully the website will be up. If it's not, I still have a backup. So we're good to go. Take us home, Adam.
Wow.
Cheers.
Yeah, guys, panel, chat. Thank you all very much. We'll hopefully we'll see you next week then for everybody's favourite Coriolis. Can't wait. All right, night everyone.
Good night, sir.
Gem Pandas, and they were educating me from Andrew Thomas Young's paper. They're saying, yeah, those light rays, they're curving to your eyeball, right?
Yeah, buddy.
They are.
Yeah.
They are.
Oh, they are?
Line of sight is never bent.
You haven't got a straight line of sight on a globe. It's all bent.
Those light rays, they're curving to your eyeball.
Yeah, buddy.
They are.
Yeah.
They are. Line of sight is never bent.
They're curving to your eyeball.
Yeah, buddy.
They are.
Yeah.
They are. Line of sight is never bent.
Calling all cars. We have
Numpty dipshit.
all cars, please assist. All cars, please assist.
So why don't you walk me through this?
What you want me do this? Huh? What you get me do this, prove a flat earth? Huh? What you get me do this? Huh?
Done.
What you get me do this, proving a flat earth? Huh? Huh? What you get me do this, proving a flat earth? Huh?
That is how you sound, Virus. That is
What you get me do this, proving a flat earth?
Damn, walk me through this.
Damn, bro! You got me proving a flat earth, bro! Why'd you get me do this, bro?
Dude.